Welcome to our latest acquisition. This is a Dyer, what is it? A
midget, 7 feet 11 inches.
We bought this to be our tender for the boat down in Florida. However, when these are new, they're very expensive. They're thousands. This one was quite a bit less than $1,000, but it also needs a huge amount of work. The mast for the sail goes through here as the base there, and then it goes through this hole, and this should all be bolted very carefully because there are a lot of loads on this. Instead, it was just held in with some screws,
Which didn't supposed to be
right.
That one they tried to reseat it and didn't do a good job.
Right, and you can see I've never seen the oak rail, rub rail painted before, and the reason is clear. It's rotted, it's broken, and then lots of other things. The similar metal, I like that. Yeah, you typically you don't mix stainless with bronze. These are all bronze, very expensive. And this should be through bolted. There should be bolts through here. This is just the seat, but it's the rower's seat. This bolt goes through and holds the seat in place, but it had a wing nut on it, which why in the world would you put a wing nut on it? Anyways, all these strange things, and then kind of a mess. Donna will sand all this, and it'll look
much better.
Much better. But there are a couple of odd things. If we've taken the seat out, the bottom of the supports are bolted in, which they should be, but they've been sunk for some reason. I have no idea why. I don't even know if I can get a wrench on here to take these out.
Or a socket.
Or a socket. Maybe a socket could get in there.
Possibly.
But why in the world would you do this? You'd put a giant washer and then make your bolt a little longer. It's not like anybody's going to, catch that with their leg or anything.
Not likely.
And now and whenever you do this, then you also damage the varnish, so you've got a break in your varnish. Always, so then it looks like this.
Right.
You can see it. So, and then this is mahogany. This looks like it's iPay for some reason.
It's a repair?
It's a replacement, I guess. Yeah. And it's two separate pieces, which is, why would you do that?
Because it's easier than cutting it out.
Because it's easier, but at least hopefully they glued it and then they bolted it together like this. But it's interesting. This is a star head, and then this is a square head. So we've got a lot of mixed metaphors here.
Yes.
And it'll be an interesting rebuild, but we're running out of time. We've got to get to Florida pretty soon. Do you want to do the unboxing to see what horror shows?
Oh, go for it, my love.
Here?
Go for it.
Right.
Let me get around the other side here.
Let me take the rest of the screws out of here. It's kind of neat what they did with these. These are used for frostbiting, which is winter sailing, usually by
crazy people.
Well, by men-child trying to prove their worth. It's particularly interesting when they do it without wetsuits on, because you can easily flip this. In the winter, it's not as much fun.
No, so we're
to
curious.
See panicked people.
What is behind the panel?
Anyways, it's if you can see, there's a white box there, and then this should have just globs of closed cell foam. Yeah. Oh boy,
that's interesting. They
made a real nice mess.
Yeah. Okay.
There is. I mean, it's okay. It keeps the boat afloat.
Yeah, it keeps it afloat.
But
it would be nice to use that for storage, and you could put PFDs there as flotation.
Yeah, I was thinking if you took this out, you could lash a couple of PFDs, life preservers.
Flotation devices.
Life preservers. You could lash a couple of those in here. Then you'd have life preservers and your flotation in one, and probably not even put that back. But here, look at this. This is where these seats float on these brackets.
Right, these brackets.
Which is a very nice feature, because the boat's always doing this. Flexes. But here they glued it in, which is fine, because this is the back of the boat, and you don't want your transom working at all. But they didn't drill any limber holes, so all the water just collects in here.
And rots. And
it's rotted, and then there's a crack here I'll have to fill. Not too bad, but we have to dry it out for days. And then they did some other odd things. I don't know. These are This is Zermac, which is chrome-plated zinc alloy.
It's definitely
And
not
this is
original.
This is not original.
And
right?
why would you do? Oh, that was for lifting it. Some people have those brackets and they can lift
it straight out. But I mean, the way it usually comes, it has a ring like this.
Right.
Has a bunch of them. And this is bronze with stainless with who the hell even knows. There's more
The rudder.
stainless here with
Right.
bronze, and now this is in
it's
contact
painted.
with salt water. So we
That's-
definitely want to swap these out.
Yeah.
There's a slotted, there's a Phillips,
Phillips.
all mixed,
Makes
just to
match.
keep it interesting.
Makes a nice battery.
But in general, this is a very
Nice boat.
very nice boat. These brackets, the bronze brackets, are very expensive to have
Yeah.
stuff like that made. And even in the corner here, they've got these bronze pieces.
Supports.
What are those called? Knees.
Knees.
Bronze knees. So
Nice
we do
boat.
have our work cut out for us. Our first order of business is to see what the heck we can do with this. It's really kind of a mess. If you want to, it looks like they've put some sort of soft, like dolphinite filler, which is completely inappropriate here.
And
That's a stainless fastener. I don't know where that's going. Usually these are,
bronze pins.
they're bronze nails, really.
Nails, and they pin
And
them.
you drill them, you push them through, then you put a washer on the other side, cut it, and then hit it with a hammer and compress the wood. It's a nice, wonderful way to do things, but it takes a lot of time. This is one there, one there, maybe one up there,
Oh, I'm sure
and
somewhere.
then here, and then this is cracked. So we'll have to see what, and there's some sort of fastener there. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So, all doable, a lot of work.
Yeah. But a very nice boat. And it sails, and it'll carry a lot more groceries than our double kayak, which is what we used as our dinghy last winter down in Florida.
It's also a life raft
A life raft.
equivalent,
Right.
which is nice. A kayak's a lot harder to use like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
But so today's order of business, my honey is an expert at this, is heat gun and pull scraper.
And get
and then-
the yuck off.
Well, let me see if maybe somebody might be interested.
Yes, so you gotta heat it up enough to melt the paint.
See how it's bubbling?
And this is not a hair dryer, it's an actual
No,
heat gun.
this is a heat gun.
Don't
get-
use it on your hair.
Yes, there was we heard a story of a poor woman who thought this was a hair dryer. This is actually 1,000 degrees, and the end result wasn't pretty at all.
No.
But see, you heat it up, it bubbles, and then it comes off right away. You can see somebody just put goop in here.
Yeah, instead of fixing it properly.
All right, so I have to carve all that out, and I'll probably, if they're bad, really bad chunks and pieces missing, I'll get a piece of white oak, like from a just a shipping
Container.
skid.
Yeah. A lot
pallet.
of those, the pallets are
It's nice
oak.
high quality wood sometimes. I might have to fill this. But then I'll try to get this stuff out of here, and then we'll probably epoxy this, which I don't really like to do. It's not, you shouldn't irreversibly combine these, but the epoxy's not going to stick in here anyway, so I'm not going to worry, because there's so much junk in here. You can see this is the wrong way to do stuff. These boats do have problems. People will store them upside down, and water will come and collect under this
the gunnels.
rail and then rot this out, because this is oak. It's not very rot resistant.
No.
It's nice and strong. And I'm pretty sure this is white oak. These are all steam bent. It's a whole nother chapter.
Yeah.
We won't go into that.
Oh, you can even see it cracking a
So
little
if
there.
anybody wants to
Have some fun
have
with
some
us.
fun with scraping, we do have
Come
a
and
bit of
join
work.
us.
Anyway,
We're getting the last of the paint off.
we're finding damages like this, and
Or
what
worse.
like
Like this.
Now, this is hard for me to admit, but we're just going to patch this and use it, because we've run out of time. We've got to get down to Florida. What I'm going to do is an epoxy fill here. I talked to Dyer. Very nice people.
And we tried to get replacements.
Well, you can get replacements. They have a kit. It's actually reasonably priced. It comes with this is called an in wall and the out wall, and then it comes with all these copper, they're rivets. It looks like a copper nail. It goes through, and then it gets a washer on the other side. You cut it, and then you peen it over with a hammer, and it pulls everything together very nicely and tightly. They've been building boats that way for hundreds of years. And it's a lot of fun to do, but we don't have time for it. What Dyer does is it gets white oak green. So somebody cuts down a tree, then they mill it, and then they steam bend it right away before it has a chance to dry out and harden. And then you have to use it within a month. Otherwise, it doesn't have enough give to make the tight turns in the front. And although I'd love to do it, it's a fun project, but we just don't have time.
And they don't always have it in stock.
Right. It's kind of I'll cut down the tree, mill it, and then steam bend it, and then ship it to you maybe somewhere. Sometime. That's the simplest explanation of what we're doing. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mold, and I'm going to cast this in epoxy with thickener just as a stopgap, and then we're going to cover this with a bumper material. It's actually a fabric that has a foam in it, and we'll run it, you screw it, and it's very nice. It keeps the edge of the boat from damaging things like the other boat. And that should be okay. Again, we can use that for years. It's just embarrassing.
Cover up the worst of it.
Because I'm the one that's making fun of people that do things like that.
Hey, at least you're not using Bondo and whatever that glop is.
No, we're not going to use Bondo. We use West System epoxy. It's pretty good. And I don't even think I'm going to sister in a piece of wood here. I'll just leave that. But I have to make some sort of form work around it and drizzle the epoxy in. And you can see this is kind of what somebody had done here. I don't know if you can close up here. See this tape? There's blue tape here. Well, the last guy to do this, I think he left the tape there on purpose so that the Bondo wouldn't adhere to the hull, which I doubt it'll do anyways because it's so dirty and a mess. But he did this so it would actually come apart when he was ready to. And I think, I don't know, he probably died of old age before he could do this. So that's our project for today. And
keep us out of trouble.
Again, I apologize. Today we're going to show you two things you've never seen before. First of all, a guy vacuuming, and second of all, a guy vacuuming the dock. Because we made a horrible mess when we were scraping all the paint off of this mess.
Oh, we missed a side.
What's what?
We missed a side.
Oh my God. That's okay. We'll live either way. And then after we're done here, I will show you what we're going to do, something I'm really embarrassed about and ashamed, and I'm going to get kicked out of the Craftsman's Guild for it. But we'll be back in a bit.
Jim's doing the epoxy work today. The front here was completely rotted away.
So we did something terrible.
Yeah.
I made a quick form out of, you can see the piece of wood here. It's just a piece of banding. And that gave me the curve here. And I've poured thickened epoxy in, and then just tried to make a kind of a cofferdam of blue tape. And all the epoxy is seeped into all the rotted wood that was here. This is very, very stopgap-ish. Was here, a couple places down there. This was all rotted here.
We got a couple drips if you want to.
We have drips?
We have
what?
drips.
What? Where?
There's some drips there.
Oh, okay. All right. And this is just cardboard. I'm hoping this goes off quickly because what will happen is this is just paper. the epoxy will start saturating going into the paper.
And deteriorated.
Yeah.
And
Well, it'll just, I mean, you know, it's gone off. It's okay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look pretty.
someday we'll have to get new
This will all come
gunnels,
off.
but for now this will get us through.
This was rotted all the way down through and around. I'm hoping that the epoxy will flow into it. It usually flows in fine, but you never really know. Then these pieces of tape are pushing this plywood form up because it wants to bow out as soon as you start putting a fluid into it. And like we said, it's not pretty by a lot. But all we're trying to do is get the form and strength, and then we're going to put the rub rail on here to hide our sins.
Our sins, yes.
Yeah. All right. But let's see what's happening forward. This is another problem. This,
Oh, the scarf.
see this line goes through here. This is what's called a scarf. That's where this piece of wood joins a separate piece of wood here. And it doesn't look like they epoxied it together or anything. It's just got Bondo on it. And then, of course, that's right where the other side will crack because it's not supported well. So I'm going to have to come back with some thinned epoxy and try to glue this together. It's kind of on the other side too. Now this is where the seat goes. These are the holes for the seat.
Go around
Yeah,
here.
go around. Or stay there, I'll go around that side.
Okay. Same problem on this side, though. They did a Bondo mess.
Yeah. These are the holes for the seats here. They got it right on
Oh,
the
right on
washer
the peen.
for the rivet.
The rivet.
Right through it.
Yikes.
Those are probably the only screws that held.
Yeah, probably.
What I'm going to do, these holes here. I have some hardwood that I'm going to whittle down, goop it up with epoxy, and then push it into these holes, and then re-drill it so that the
Screws will fit in properly.
Yeah.
And actually have something to hold on to, because right now the holes are so big that the screws are just...
I even went up a size. For some reason it had number 8 screws. I went up to, found number 10 bronze somehow. Actually West System had them, but literally a
West Marine?
King's West Marine.
This is West System epoxy.
West System, oh right, oh boy.
Just to make life more complicated.
Yeah. But they were hideously expensive. We usually typically go to our buddies at Rex Marine. This is Norwalk, Connecticut. And Rex has all sorts of stuff. You know, it's been there forever.
Drip.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And this is, don't hit anything.
Don't
You
hit
go sailing with the
anything.
boat,
Don't
be gentle,
hit anything.
don't hit anything. And right
Yes,
now we're
dear.
just waiting to make sure it goes off without leaking out all over the place, and making sure nobody comes down here and makes it.
And has to get
steps into
by,
it,
and yeah.
Yeah, these are our buddies here with this big ML 50, and they were just down, and he's quite the boat builder too, and
Awesome.
I think he wanted to make fun of me.
No, I
He's
don't
a nice
think so.
guy, but he
He's
knows
a nice
all
guy.
about building boats. He used to build boats. I think he worked
Right.
for directors.
He did.
And we criticize other boats, and now I've probably,
Well, you found a kindred spirit.
well, not anymore, not after he sees this.
No, I think, well, Dolores liked it,
Well,
his wife.
I guess.
Do I need to varnish that too?
Yeah. It's
Just to stabilize.
it's just clear. It's, well, they glassed it. There's a lot of glass on it.
I know.
Fiberglass. I don't know what to do about that. This is the mast step where the mast goes in, but there's no limber hole. It doesn't drain.
So
Water just sits in it and rots it from the inside out.
Mm,
We'll
Put a-
have to,
put a plug in when we're not using the mask.
something, I don't know.
Guess what? I see our buddy, the pump out man.
Oh,
Yay!
flag him down.
Yeah, I'm sure he's coming this way.
Our,
We're getting a little poopy.
oh, honey. All right, so we're constantly walking around going, are you
Are you
leaking?
okay?
Are you all right?
Are you? Yeah.
Anything you need, you just let me know.
All right. Let me go take care of this.
How about?
What?
Yeah.
Jim's been hard at work this morning. You can see where he's put the thickened epoxy here. He sanded it. Now that it's filled, you can see the old wood here. This was completely gone and rotted away. It's now epoxy and filler. That'll hopefully stiffen it up and keep it in good shape.
So we're going to do the same thing that we did on that side here. This was all completely rotted, and I actually even left the rotted wood to give me a kind of a template of where to go. This is what is left of my mold, which was just some cardboard, and I've created a mold to kind of encapsulate this area. You're never really sure what you're going to get, so we'll have to sand this and see what's under there. So this is going to make a bit of a noise, and you don't have to watch, but you can see how this is like a 60 grit. It's little pieces of gravel, and the fiberglass is tough. It's still a little soft, but it does a very nice job of filling something like this. The big problem is it's not flexible like the wood is. So if you take a hit, it's going to crack it or crack something, because this is actually pretty tough. But let me we'll come back in a second, and then I'll show you what happened here. There was less wood here than on the other side, and I hope I'm not just making a mess. Okay, so you can see here, this is the easy part where you're just grinding away on top. It's filled pretty well. A lot of times you'll get voids when you're pouring this stuff in. And now we're gonna grind this away. It bowed out a little bit, of course. When you fill it, it weights it and pushes it over, but let's see what we've got under it. This poor tool is decades and decades old. It's better than the ones you can get today. I'll speed it up a little bit. You don't want to get too high. You can start melting the plastic. This is just epoxy after all, and then it'll start loading the disc. So there you can see the wood. There was a brass piece, copper piece, I'm sorry, one of the copper nails, rivets actually. And then we'll just smooth this out. Hopefully nobody's going to see this, because we're going to put an edge on here. So it's just for strengthening the corner, even though the manufacturer makes these really very expensive cast bronze knees that go in the corners, even though you don't really need it because you've got this. Anyways, so we'll be right back. So it's pretty much done. We'll do a little hand sanding here. This is the bottom of it. I'm going to turn the boat over in order to get at this, so that I don't damage the hull, because the belt sander can be kind of a brutish tool in the wrong hands. I've seen people do horrible things. You always have to keep it moving. The what?
I almost lost part of a shoe.
Yes. No, well, besides that, and I remember doing stuff, and somehow my shoelace got caught in here, and it wasn't pretty. Well, I could tell you other horror stories, but
let's not.
You might be having a meal while you're watching this. Then we'll do this guy. This was just a big. I'm not sure why this was cracked here. The oarlock sockets go here, and then the seat is here, so I'm not sure what's going on.
The seat?
Yeah, the seat's here and here. The brackets for the seat.
It's not even the seat.
Right.
Issue. Okay.
Oh, and you know what? While we're at it, you could see, where was that spline? It was all broken. Yeah.
That one they tried to fix with Bondo.
You can see if we do this, this piece is broken, and put the spline here. I don't know why they put the spline here. It could have been here or back there would be even better, where nobody would care, because this is a weakened part. This is Bondo here.
And we have the same issue on the other side.
Yeah, it's interesting how it did that. I wonder if they took a hit or something.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So let me grind this guy off. You wanna
Step back.
And that's about as good as it's going to get it. And remember, this is going to be covered, so we don't, you know, I'm not worried about stuff like that. And of course, this whole thing, as painful as it is to say, but it's kind of a stopgap so we can get the right thing to go on here. So we'll do the front. Is another matter. There was lots and lots of rot. We did this yesterday. I actually used this piece of, it was a little piece of veneering wood. I just used that as a mold to try to get a good curve. It didn't work very well there, but there wasn't a lot left here at all. And I don't particularly like this because if you take a good hard bang here, this isn't going to flex, this is just going to crack. But we're not going to take a big hard bang,
no,
are we?
Shan't.
Yeah. So you see what it looks like now. I don't know if it's going to look much better when I get through with it, but
That's why we're covering it
again,
later.
it's just to get the boat so we can use it, because we're going to be down in Marathon, and we need something besides double kayaks to move groceries and things around.
And ourselves.
Then we'll sand all this. I could fill all this, but I'm not going to bother. But we will varnish all this to try to protect it more, and then we'll paint over. So you can see it's coming along. It's actually a lot easier to mill through this piece of wood than it was the paper that I had used, cardboard. But let's take a So that was wood, there was nothing there. This is the piece of trim. That's one of the screws, or I'm sorry, one of the rivets, the copper rivets. And then we do, here, film right here. If you were to try to do this by hand, this would take you
Forever.
Days. With this, it's a few seconds. But remember the old adage, with great power comes great responsibility. You can really screw yourself up with this. In fact, I was really good. I'd be wearing gloves and steel-toed shoes. But this is the minimum safe stuff. And I've done this a lot.